say, their goal will never reach any success, and our determination is even better, is even stronger to eliminate them and to have Sinai free of terrorists and Sinai to be a genuine part, to Egypt and to restore the normal life, inshallah.
Inshallah. Major General Hussein Abdelrazek, strategic analyst, thank you so much for talking to us on special edition. Mrs. Taher, as the General has said, yes, Egypt will not yield. The continuation of the roadmap is there. Terrorists are trying to block the road. They will not succeed. So Egyptians are fully aware of the threat that they do have, and they need to confront it.
They are, but I want just to mention something. Usually, even the people, they don't understand what's going on. I mean, from the Egyptian, they say this is the Egyptian army facing few terrorists. This is not true, even if there are many terrorists. As the General said, and I'm very convinced with what he said about we are facing different foreign intelligence services from different foreign countries. It's not just a group of terrorists. Otherwise, it could be much easier for the Egyptian army, which is, as I said before, the strongest in the area. We are facing many countries, and this is actually, it's more international war against Egypt, is not national. Yes, they are using some elements from inside, from the MBs in Egypt, this is true, but who is behind them? Who is financing them? Who is supporting them? Who is planning them? I remember that I was watching a TV program about what the police, they caught some of the groups, and they found maps, and they found names, and they found plans. This is not planned by some of the local, whoever they are terrorists or not, but we are facing different countries, and
organized.
This is true.
Right.
And we know what's going on in the area, and we know that Egypt is the only country maybe faced this, let's say, plan, and it didn't succeed in Egypt. That's why they are trying more and more, but it will never happen.
It will never happen, definitely, because of the sense of awareness of Egyptians. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now go to the top stories with my colleague Nancy Sarah Barakat, and we'll be there once again to continue discussion on the special edition.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome. You're watching the Ali Top Stories. After Sinai's deadly terrorist attacks on Thursday, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Friday cut short a visit to Ethiopia when he attended the opening session of the African Union Summit. Militants fired rockets and set off a car bomb in North Sinai, leaving several military personnel dead and injured. Military spokesman Colonel Mohammed Samir said terrorists had targeted military troops and facilities in Sinai's capital of Al-Arish with explosives-laden cars and grenades. In a statement by the Armed Forces, spokesman Brigadier Mohammed Samir said in a statement that Sinai's latest attacks were due to the successful strikes by the army and the police against the terrorist elements in the Sinai Peninsula. The statement added that the attacks were due to the terrorist Brotherhood organization's failure to spread chaos during the 4th anniversary of the January 25th revolution. Prime Minister Ibrahim Mahmoud warned the martyrs who paid their lives for the country in the terrorist attacks on Al-Arish. The Prime Minister said the Egyptians are ready to sacrifice their souls for the sake of their country. He added that the prosperity of the nation and its regional and international standing provokes terrorists to carry out attacks and explosions with the aim of hindering the country's progress towards becoming a civil and democratic state. Mahmoud also called on Egyptians to unify against terrorism and extremism and to carry out the last step of the roadmap and to denounce political and partisan conflicts. Al-Azhar also mourned the soldiers killed in the northern Sinai offensive, and in a statement issued on Friday, Al-Azhar asserted that Egypt, its leaders and the people support the armed forces and the police in their fight to combat terrorism. Egypt's Grand Mufti, Dr. Shawki Amam, also condemned the Sinai attacks and reaffirmed that such acts of terrorism will not affect Egypt's determination. He said that Islam condemns all forms of terrorism and stressed that Islam opposes bloodshed. Dr. Amam also extended his deepest condolences to the families of the victims and wished the injured a speedy recovery. Arab League Secretary-General Dr. Nabil Arabi strongly condemned the Sinai attack, which resulted in the killing of dozens of Egyptian soldiers and left many injured. Arabi said that the Arab League firmly supports Egypt in its war on terrorism, and called on the international community to support Egypt's efforts to end this criminal phenomenon which is spreading across the globe. Arabi also expressed his deep condolences to the families of the victims and wished the injured a speedy recovery. And reacting to the deadly Sinai attacks, U.S. State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki expressed the country's condemnation and vowed that Washington remains steadfast in its support of Cairo's efforts to combat terrorism. The Jordanian Foreign Minister Nasser Ghouda said that Amman is praying to God to protect Egypt and its people against all threats which aim to destabilize its security. And we go back now to a special edition with my colleague Tahreed Hussain. Do stay tuned to us here on Now TV International.
Be the first to know. The news live at the site of the event. Information on events as they are happening. If it's breaking news, it's Now TV. Welcome back, and we are continuing our discussion. And Egypt has warned before, and the president has warned before, that terrorism has become an international trade, and that there should be concerted efforts also internationally. The international community should cooperate with Egypt in that regard, because they are going, other countries definitely are going to be subject to this phenomenon, whether sooner or later. Concerted efforts on behalf of the international community, as you see it, Ms. Hanna.
To be honest, I can say that when it happens in Egypt, there is no concern. When it happens somewhere else, it's a big concern for them. I mean, look when it happened in France, Charlie Hebdo, and I can see in what happened just a day after what happened from this terrorist. But 40 leaders from the world, they went to France with about 2 million people demonstrating in the streets in Paris, right, to refuse what happened, and it was only 11 people killed and 11 people injured. In Egypt, we had this for about 4 years now, and maybe they refuse what's going on in Egypt, but it's not really strong. I mean, they don't really concern about Egypt as they concern when it happened in their country. It happened last month in Australia. Remember when they blocked some people in a coffee shop, and then it happened in Paris. And this is what President Sisi went from. But I mean, when it comes to Egypt, nobody cares. And Egypt, of course, what we have in Egypt is 1 million times than when it happens anywhere else. So what the international efforts towards this terrorism, maybe we'll see it more if it goes towards them more. Till now, I can't see anything.
Well, it has been also, terrorism has been on the agenda of the African Union Summit.
This is true.
So we as Arabs, we as Africans should also unite in the face of this despicable phenomenon. How do you see the Egyptian-Arab cooperation in that regard?
It's perfect, actually. I can see that the cooperation between the Arab and I hope to see the same in the African countries, I mean the same cooperation. Since the 30th of June and since President Sisi wrote about tourism in the area, and I could see the cooperation between Saudi Arabia, the first country to support Egypt actually, and then Emirates, and then Kuwait, and then Bahrain. It's more than perfect. It's maybe one of the steps that taken by the Arabs earlier than the other countries all over the world. I expect to see the same cooperation between the African countries, and they should do that because there is no other choice. So I think it will be also perfect to have Egypt as the center of the area with the Egyptian army, which is again the strongest in the area, as a leader for the Arab area and for the African continent, to lead. We don't say it's a war against the terrorism, of course, but we have a leader, that's Egypt, that's President Sisi, and everyone will follow, and we will get rid of it. It doesn't mean that maybe tomorrow or after tomorrow it takes some time, but we are ready and we are facing it strongly and we are ready for that.
Definitely. The President Mahmoud Abbas of Palestine sent condolences to President Sisi and the Egyptian people in his speech before the African Union Summit.
This is true.
The Palestinian cause is once again considered to be crucial, and the Palestinians themselves are the midst of terrorist attacks.
For years. This is for a long time. And they feel it more than anyone else because they suffered from it and they had a long term with the terrorists. That's why they maybe they are the first to support President Sisi in his war against terrorism. And I heard also that Sepsi, the president of Libya,
Right, in his speech
this is true, before even after President Sisi left, so he did the same. This cooperation will help a lot because the Arab countries, maybe if we talked about this tourism about 4 years ago, nobody will really give attention, but now everybody can see clear and it's going all over the world. So we have to face it, and we have to face the fact that we have to cooperate to get rid of it forever.
Right. The Mufti of the Republic, Shawi Alam, condemned the despicable attacks, and definitely those acts are far away from the tolerance and the peace at the core of our Islamic religion. Are we in need to change the religious discourse meantime?